On June 16, 2018, Liberty Life informed their customers that they had experienced quite a significant data breach. The breach allowed hackers to extract data and demand compensation from the business, or else they would leak the files. The breach reportedly involved an email server and possible core systems. About 40 terabytes of data was exfiltrated, a 4% drop in Liberty's share price. Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tarsus On Demand. My name is Senzo, and joining me again in studio today are Tyrell and Kamil. Gentlemen, good to have you here again.
Yeah,
welcome back.
Thanks for having us, Senzo. Hi, everybody. Good to have you all back.
Always a good time. Anyways, guys, today we just want to quickly talk about Liberty and that breach that happened back in 2018. We basically want to unpack a few things. So it is reported that what happened was the hackers reached out to Liberty, demanding some money from them. And just to make sure that Liberty understood the gravity of the situation, they even posted some of the files on an FTP share publicly. So let's just unpack on those events and maybe see if it could be prevented in the future. Sure. So my first question would be, seeing that maybe this looks like it wasn't really picked up soon enough, so what kind of alerts and sort of indicators could have been identified and maybe make it identified sooner, if I can put it that way?
Yeah, so Senzo, we cannot be exactly sure of what occurred on this breach and what exactly happened with this incident. But if we had intrusion detection system in place,
yes,
you know, our administrators or the administrators at Liberty would have been informed about this breach. They would have got alerts of the breach. And by means of continuous monitoring in place, they would have also seen the alerts and so forth coming through, which can be tied into Sentinel.
And can you just expand a bit on Sentinel for the viewers at home who don't know what that might be?
So Microsoft Sentinel is a security information and event management system. So what it does is, from all our resources we have in our environments and organization, it reports back, pulling in all the information from logs,
sort of metrics,
your metrics and your logs from these systems that we have in place, and provides us with reporting and analysis, and is able to take it a step further, and we're able to put in mitigation actions into place. So if we had to see a threat come through via email, for example, we know immediately there's an action that's going to take place. We can immediately automated response to mitigate these types of threats from occurring.
I like that.
And with that, don't you think that the Microsoft breached account procedure could have been a pivotal, point if that was a detection that might have been found by Sentinel?
Yeah.
And to add further to that, don't you think that an AI tool could have been integrated into this just to give Liberty a bit of insight of the threats that might have been found?
So Tyrell, you say AI tool, do you mean the likes of like machine learning?
Yes.
So how could that have helped in this situation?
It would have created a model in terms of looking at the threats that has been found, and would have built a model to mitigate those threats, So it would have had also with that 24-hour, 365 monitoring, as you've mentioned in your previous point, that would have helped Liberty, detect this earlier.
Very true. I like that, guys. But remember, we need to also look at it from different perspectives. Remember, security is a multi-layered thing, so you need to explore different levels of protection. Which brings me to the data protection and encryption side of things. I want to know, in this case where the email server was breached, they took the files, they were able to read it clearly. What data encryption and access control standards could have been applied to prevent that and just stop it there?
Senzo, great point you're raising there. Data encryption, as basic as what it sounds like to the viewers, or it is quite important because this was data that was at rest. The server might have been an old server that has not been in use.
Possible.
And, if the encryption standards with the likes of AES, RSA, 3DES have been added to that server, the data could not have been read.
Very true.
So Senzo, what we've established from this breach, and what you've said to us and the viewers, so it was reported that an email server which contained the organization's emails was the system that was breached in this matter.
Yes.
So ongoing monitoring would have actually helped in this case.
Yes.
And don't you think it would have been also worthwhile to have data separation, segregation in place
Yes.
for this matter?
It mustn't all reside in one. Separated,
Yeah.
sensitive information this side, and encrypt everything.
No, true.
Yeah,
And as the
very good
saying goes, you never leave your eggs in one basket.
That's the very
Don't
good
you
one.
think that would have helped them in this case?
Yeah.
Which brings me to a question, guys. What lessons could have been learned in terms of incident response and Liberty's rather lack of incident response in this matter?
I think it's pretty clear, Tyrell, here. If we don't know exactly how long it took them, I'm even wondering now if these hackers did not reach out to the.
They were never going
What would have happened? Would they have known about this breach? It's a question we can ask.
Isn't
So it's
this
really
that-
important to understand and know about these things by employing these obviously these services that we have: incident response, incident detection, AI, and so forth.
And with that, there's that, underlying stat that is not really known, that a threat is detected in under 60 days. Isn't
60
that
days.
wild?
2 months.
Or
Yes,
just
in
over?
South Africa.
2 months.
That is a cause of concern, honestly. That is
So,
a cause
yeah.
of concern.
It would
Yes.
have been a risk if they had not mentioned anything to Liberty. They would have never known.
So it's important, guys, as well, and to all organizations out there, that we form a team in our organizations to detect and have a team that responds to these types of threats.
Like an
Incident response team.
Yes.
So we need to know who are the responsible parties that fall part of this team, and what do their roles play in this team. So we'll first identify the types of breaches that occur daily out there in this world today.
And how does it affect us as a business?
How does it affect, and what do we do about it?
Yeah.
We need to put in mitigation actions
Yes.
if this has to happen, if we had to get threats or
Yeah.
breached.
Yeah.
What do we do about it? What tools do we need to have in place
Yeah.
to secure our environment?
Basically, a plan of action.
Action.
If this happens,
This is what
person
we
comes
do.
in. This is the next step, and so forth.
Yeah.
That's essentially what that plan.
Correct.
Also, I think with that also, the honesty policy, you have to declare that a breach had occurred.
Yes.
You have up to 72 hours according to GDPR.
GDPR, yes.
That's correct. To declare a breach. And it is important that you guys as the business let your business partners know, or your customers know,
Yes.
that you might have suffered a potential breach.
Potential breach.
True. Just to touch a bit on, gents, working with third-party vendors. Obviously, sometimes if we do, we put our trust on them.
Yes.
So how do we ensure that they are compliant and they are compliant to the regulations that maybe we are also as a business, in this case of Liberty?
So it's important that we set expectations of how we handle our data,
Yes.
firstly. And further to that, we have a lot of vendors and third-party vendors and suppliers. So I think, Tyrell, it's important that they are also compliant.
Yes. And I think with that, they need to, in every industry, there is set compliance for every industry.
True.
They need to comply with what they specialize in, and also filter back to what they're supplying to their customers. And the same goes with Liberty. They need to provide the same. So it's a three-way handshake. There needs to be
So it needs to be a flow.
exactly that. It needs to be a flow.
Yes. From the top to the bottom, we all comply with the
Comply.
same standards.
Yes.
Yeah, I also agree with that very much.
No.
So basically, another thing maybe we can add to that is they must report back to us. Whoever
Yes.
you're working with, they need to be able to report periodically. We are still compliant. This is our paperwork, or this is our assessment.
So we have a standard procedure.
So it's standard across the board.
Yeah, it's more like an IT health and safety,
Yes.
Everyone is compliant. We work, our hands are clear. We can all work in the same. And that data that is managed within the businesses is safe and secured.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what a wonderful topic to discuss today. It was quite insightful, and hopefully the viewers who are watching this also have learned a thing or two on how to prevent such breaches and which actions can take, and obviously what Tasks on Demand has to offer. So just to close off before we wrap it up, gentlemen, just any few thoughts from you two maybe you can put onto the table at this point.
Yeah, so just to all our viewers out there, this is a final thought, especially with these types of incidents that occur on a daily basis. it's important that we use the correct tools. Not every tool is going to be important for your business, but it's important to identify the correct tools and how to implement them. And I'll emphasize as well, create an incident response team with the right roles and responsibilities. So when this does happen, we've got a procedure in place, and we know how to act swiftly and mitigate this as soon as we can.
Yes, and we can, TOS on Demand can help your business with that as well.
No, true, guys. Lastly, thank you for once again having me. From my side, I think it is, the decommissioning of an outdated or a not used server.
True.
It's quite important so that there is no entry point into your network with a dormant server.
Yes, true. Well, thanks for the input, gentlemen. Thanks everyone. That was quite a lot to reflect on. Thank you very, very much for everyone for watching and staying with us today. Until next time, stay safe and remember to always keep your information secured.